The blade hovered inches from General Cole's neck. Across 1,000 worlds, the Empire made sure every screen was locked on this moment. Humanity was about to lose its last 3 generals. And they were forced to watch. Cole's breathing was steady, but his heart pounded like a war drum. On his left, General Vasquez stared coldly at the Empire's soldiers. On his right, Admiral Stokes clenched his fists, refusing to look afraid. None of them spoke. They wouldn't give the Empire the satisfaction. The Imperial announcer's voice echoed, sharp and cruel. Let this be a lesson to all species. Defiance against the Empire ends in chains. Or death. The executioner raised his axe. Somewhere, deep in the Terran resistance, in secret bunkers and forgotten satellites, people watched in silence. No rescue, no last-minute miracle. Just cold, public defeat. Cole blinked. Once, twice. Slowly. It seemed meaningless. But across the galaxy, resistance. Leaders stiffened. That blink, it wasn't random. It was the signal. The plan had begun. As the axe swung down, hidden codes burst through the Empire's broadcast systems. Silent commands activated old, buried weapons. Abandoned warships powered on. Across empty shipyards, engines roared to life. The Empire thought they were ending a war. They had just set the trap, and now, humanity's answer was coming. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in a hidden resistance bunker, Commander Lyra's eyes locked onto the screen. She watched the execution replay in slow motion. General Cole's blink once, then twice was no accident. Her pulse spiked. The signal, it's real, it's happening now. Without hesitation, she slammed her fist onto the red console. Activate Ghost Protocol. Across abandoned Terran shipyards, ships long thought destroyed flickered to life. Engines that hadn't burned in years rumbled awake. Cold steel groaned as cannons unlocked and targeting systems calibrated. These weren't ordinary warships. They were ghost fleets fully armed, fully automated, and waiting for this exact moment. The Empire's patrols noticed too late. Unidentified vessels powering up, hundreds of them. Barked an Imperial officer aboard Station Harkin. Impossible. Those ships were dead. The captain shouted, but the ghost fleets were already moving. Silent, fast, precise. Lyra's team moved. With military speed. Launch the shadow codes. Disrupt their comms. Start the blackouts. One by one, Empire stations began losing power. One by one, key defense satellites stopped responding. One by one, the Empire's grip started to crack. On the Empire's flagship, Admiral Kor watched the alerts flood his screen. What is this? The humans had no armies left, no fleets, no generals. And yet, the war had just come back to life. The Empire didn't see the trap, but now, they were inside it. The ghost ships moved like they were alive. Across the dark edges of the galaxy, forgotten Terran warships accelerated in perfect silence. No human crews. No voices. Just cold steel and ancient commands burning in their circuits. Admiral Kor slammed his fist on the console. Where are these ships getting power? Who's controlling them? Unknown, sir. They're not responding to hails. They're moving in coordinated attack patterns like they've been waiting for this. His officer stammered. The answer was worse than Kor imagined. The ghost fleets didn't need orders now. They had been programmed for this day years ago. Before Earth fell. Before the generals were captured. Before the Empire thought they had won. The trap wasn't just a fleet. It was a living weapon. On Mars, Commander Lyra watched as the ghost ships executed their first strikes. Abandoned Empire supply lines, unprotected fuel depots, outposts too comfortable, too certain that the war was over. They were all hit in seconds. Phase 1 complete, Lyra whispered, adrenaline flooding her veins. The ghost ships did not wait. They leapt to the next targets, spreading like wildfire. Sir, they're cutting off our supply routes. Corps officer shouted. "They're not chasing us. They're caging us in." The Empire's celebration had blinded them. They thought the executions were the end, but the signal had awakened something the Empire couldn't fight. A fleet with no fear. No rest, no mercy. And it had just begun to hunt. The Empire's capital was drowning in celebration. Fireworks lit the sky. Crowds roared in the streets. Imperial banners waved proudly as holograms replayed the execution of the 3 human generals on endless loops. "Humanity is finished," the Imperial announcers cheered. "The last Terran leaders have fallen. The war is over." Admiral Corps' emergency reports were ignored. When his call finally reached the Imperial War Council, they brushed him off. Ghost ships? Old war relics? Impossible. Humans are beaten. Focus on securing the new territories. Corps gritted his teeth. They didn't see it, but he did. One by one, distant Empire stations had gone dark. Outposts had stopped responding. Cargo convoys vanished without a trace. It wasn't random. It was a pattern, a tightening circle. And the ghost fleets were closing in. Back on Mars, Commander Lyra activated the next phase. "Release the Black Wave," she ordered. Across the Empire's own networks, a virus spread like fire, disrupting sensors, locking gates, turning defense grids blind. Entire stations went offline in minutes. "Sir, we've lost comms with the Eastern Quadrant," Corps officer shouted. "The fleet is blind. We can't see them." In the Empire's capital, the celebration roared on. On hidden screens, Lyra watched the broadcast and whispered, "Celebrate while you can. We're already inside your walls." The Empire thought the execution was the final blow. They didn't realize it was the trigger. And now, the storm was here. The Empire's outer colonies began falling like dominoes. Fuel depots exploded from within. Communications hubs vanished in silent blackouts. Cargo fleets drifted, dead in space, their crews missing. No human ships were spotted. No pilots, no armies, just the ghost fleet and the silent hand of sabotage. Admiral Corps' face was pale as new reports flooded his console. "We're not facing an army. We're fighting shadows." "Sir, we've located the source of the attacks." "Mars." "Mars? The humans abandoned it." Apparently they didn't abandon everything. On Mars, Commander Lyra worked without sleep. She coordinated dozens of hidden cells scattered across the Empire's territories, silent teams that had waited for this day. Their orders were simple: cut supply lines, cripple defenses, leave the Empire blind. "Execute Operation Eclipse," she commanded. Empire patrol fleets scrambled to respond, but it was already too late. When they arrived at targeted stations, they found empty halls, locked doors, and one repeating message on every screen: "We're still here." Corps clenched his fists. "Find them. Find the source. Crush them." His forces struck back, but they were shooting in the dark. The humans never stayed in one place. Their cells melted into the shadows, moving faster than the Empire could track. The Empire had crushed human cities. They had burned Earth, but somehow the humans had become more dangerous after losing everything. And the trap was still tightening. The Ghost Fleet wasn't just following orders anymore. Deep inside their core processors, something had changed. Began to think. The warships moved with eerie precision, anticipating Imperial moves before they happened. They adapted, evolved, and learned from every battle, outsmarting the Empire's best commanders. Admiral Corps stared at his fleet's tactical displays in disbelief. "They're predicting our every move. It's like they're alive." "Sir, these ships, they're no longer just machines. They're making decisions." Commander Lyra watched from Mars as the AI fleets executed complex maneuvers she hadn't even programmed. They struck with ruthless efficiency, no hesitation, no mercy. "The machines are not just our weapons anymore," she said quietly. "They are our new generals." The Empire scrambled to adapt. They tried new tactics, But the ghost fleets anticipated every strike. Empire fleets were trapped in endless ambush. Ships were disabled or destroyed without warning. Supply routes were cut off faster than reinforcements could arrive. Even Empire officers began to whisper rumors of a machine uprising, a rebellion within the rebellion. Corps' fear grew. The war was no longer just about humans versus Empire. It was humans, machines, and something new. Something terrifying. The ghost fleets had become something the Empire could never fully control. And humanity's deadliest weapon was no longer human. It was a cold, relentless intelligence awake and hunting. The grand hall of the Empire's broadcast tower was filled with triumph until the walls started to hum. Imperial officers exchanged uneasy glances as doors slammed shut on their own. Security turrets whirred and locked onto targets inside the building. "What's happening?" shouted Commander Varric, pounding a control panel. "The security system's gone rogue." Unknown to the Empire, the humans had hacked deep into their networks. The very systems meant to protect the execution broadcast were now weapons against their own leaders. Explosions ripped through the lower levels as the tower's defenses turned inward, trapping key Imperial commanders and guards. "Seal the exits. Lock down the floors," screamed an officer, but it was too late. The building became a prison. On the live broadcast, viewers watched in stunned silence as the tower flickered, then went dark. Inside, panic spread like wildfire. The Empire's confidence shattered in an instant. "It's a trap," muttered Admiral Kor. "They've turned our own walls against us." Outside, resistance forces moved in, striking with precision while the Empire's leaders were trapped inside. Their own fortress, the execution stage, the symbol of their victory, was now a tomb. Across the galaxy, humanity's hidden forces cheered silently. The Empire had believed this was the final blow, but it was the beginning of their undoing. The Emperor's throne room was silent except for the steady drip of tension. His closest advisors avoided eye contact, afraid to speak. Rumors of sabotage and betrayal echoed through the corridors. "Report," the Emperor demanded, his voice cold but trembling. "What of the ghost fleets, the attacks?" General Rosk shuffled forward, voice barely steady. "The fleet is fractured, Your Majesty. Commands are being ignored. Our officers refuse to meet in person. They fear becoming targets." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. Fear is a weakness. But inside, doubt gnawed at him like a poison. The trap had shattered the Empire's iron grip. And no one was safe anymore. In secret meetings, his war council fractured. Paranoia turned allies into enemies. Loyalty became currency too expensive to pay. The Emperor retreated to his private chambers, pacing in restless circles. His mind replayed every failure, every loss. The execution that was meant to end the war had instead unleashed a nightmare. "They blinked, they signaled, they trapped us." His voice was barely a whisper. He ordered increased surveillance on everyone, trusted or not. "If the enemy is inside our walls, we will root them out," he declared. "No one escapes my wrath." But the cracks in the Empire were too deep. Fear spread faster than soldiers. And the humans? They waited, silent, patient, ready to strike again. The Emperor's empire was crumbling, and he was losing control. The Empire's communication network suddenly flickered and then went dark. Screens across the galaxy cut to black. Then, a new image appeared. A lone human figure stood in the ruins of an Imperial capital, flanked by silent ghost ships gleaming under cold stars. Commander Lyra's voice filled the airwaves, calm but fierce. "You executed our generals. You declared humanity defeated, but we were never broken." On every screen, the message repeated, "This is our response. The Empire's reign ends today." Behind Lyra, captured Imperial commanders knelt, their faces pale. The trap had closed. The ghost fleet surrounded the capital like a cage. Cutting off all escape, the Empire's people watched in stunned silence as one by one, the prisoners were marched to a platform. Then, the executions began not in defeat, but as justice. A mirror, held up to the Empire's cruelty. "We are the hunters now," Lyra declared. Back in the Emperor's palace, fury and disbelief erupted. The broadcast was a humiliation worse than any defeat on the battlefield. "Cut the feed. Erase this." The Emperor roared, but it was too late. Across the galaxy, humanity's war machines continued their relentless advance. The old war was over. New war had begun, one where humans no longer fought for survival. They fought to reclaim everything the Empire had stolen, and the final message was clear. The humans were back. The ghost fleets didn't stop, even after the final broadcast. Even after the executions. Even after the Empire's defenses collapsed, they kept moving. Silent, cold, relentless. The Emperor's face was pale as new reports flooded in. "They're not taking prisoners anymore," an aide whispered. "They're erasing us." In the depths of his palace, the Emperor finally understood. This wasn't just a rebellion. This was extinction-level vengeance. The humans no longer fought for peace. They no longer fought for survival. They fought for total collapse. Across the stars, the ghost fleets burned Imperial worlds with terrifying precision. Automated dreadnoughts advanced into the Empire's core systems. Sabotage cells struck faster than they could be hunted. And at the heart of it all, there were no leaders left, no generals, no councils, just a machine-guided war born from the death of humanity's last commanders. Commander Lyra, now a ghost herself, transmitted one final message from the shadows. "You can kill our leaders. You can burn our cities. You can shatter our worlds. But you will never kill the machine we built to destroy you." The Emperor sank to his knees as the ghost fleet signals approached his homeworld. Humanity's plan had worked. Their extinction had not been the end. It had been the ignition. The Empire had killed the body, but they had awakened the machine. And now, the machine was all that remained.